Hi boys and girls, today we're going to be learning how to make eggs in a basket. As you watch, fill out the cooking demonstration sheet and you can follow along with the egg in a basket recipe. Equipment for the egg in a basket recipe are as follows. You're going to need a skillet, a turner, a biscuit cutter, or you could also use a cookie cutter, cutting board, custard cups, and a plate, and a stove to cook the eggs in a basket on. Ingredients for the eggs in the basket are 1 slice of bread, 1 egg, a tablespoon of butter, salt, and pepper to taste. The directions say, using a biscuit cutter or a cookie cutter, cut a hole in the center of each slice of bread. So you're going to take a slice of bread per person in your group, take the biscuit cutter or cookie cutter, and you're going to press down in the center of the bread. Once you press down, you're going to turn the cutter, and you're going to keep that excess piece, and you're left with the hole in the center of the bread. That's step 1. Step 2 says to melt the butter in a non-stick skillet over medium-low heat. If you're using a griddle, you can heat the griddle to 375 degrees. So either cooking device works, either the skillet or you can make these on the griddle. So I'm going to show you how to turn on the stove. So there's an indicator for the burner to turn on. I'm going to be using the front right burner on the stove, and I'm going to place the skillet on top. Notice how my handle is out of traffic. It's not poking out. I'm going to turn that inwards. Next, before I turn on the skillet, I'm going to take some of the butter and I'm going to put it on the pan. Next, I'm going to push in, turn to the right, and I'm going to let that pan heat up with the butter on medium heat. We want that butter nice and melted before we place our bread and little circle on the pan. So as you can see, the butter is starting to melt onto the pan, and you want to coat the pan nicely with the butter. Okay, once that butter is melted, step 3 says to add the slice of bread and the hole from the center. Okay, while that's soaking up the butter, we're going to move on to step number 4. Step number 4 says to crack an egg into the custard cup and check for shells. Then you're going to pour the egg into the hole in the center of the bread. Now, you want to make sure you keep the recipe away from the burner. This is another safety precaution. And notice I have my egg in the custard cup. So I'm going to lightly tap the egg into the custard cup, making sure there are no shells. Once I'm okay, I'm going to pour the egg right in the center of the bread. Okay, if you like salt and pepper, you can sprinkle some salt and pepper. Okay, onto the eggs as it cooks. But the most important thing is, and I want you to zoom in so you can see, is that you want the egg to set and cook before you give it a flip. So I really want you to zoom in so you can see that. Okay, so you want the egg white to be cooked through before you turn. Okay, and you'll see what that looks like in just a moment. So notice how the egg white is setting. Now I'm going to give the bread a flip. Okay, so I'm going to hold my handle so I have control of the pan. So make sure you can see my hand. I'm holding the handle. I'm going to get underneath the bread, underneath the egg, and give it a flip. If it breaks a little bit, that's okay. And you want to also give the extra piece of bread a flip as well. Okay, so give that a turn. Okay, and you want to make sure that both sides are cooked. About 1 or 2 minutes on each side. I'm going to show you another variation on making the eggs in a basket. Say you like scrambled eggs. You can scramble or beat the egg in the custard cup before pouring it onto the pan. So again, I've cut out the hole in the center of the bread. So I'm going to put the bread and the hole and the center on the pan. While that's absorbing the butter, I'm going to take the egg, crack it into the custard cup, and now I'm going to take a fork and beat the egg. Once the egg looks nice and beaten together, just like before, I'm going to pour the beaten egg right in the center of the pan. So I'm going to pour that in. And we're going to let the egg set and cook in the middle before giving it a flip. So once the egg and the nest have been on the skillet for about 1 or 2 minutes, or the eggs are cooked to how you like them, you're going to take your turner, remove the bread from the pan and the little center, and it's ready to eat. Now if you notice that the bread is burning, you can always turn the heat down, okay, lower, okay, or if it's not cooking fast enough, you could always adjust the heat higher, okay, but you want to stay between medium and medium-low heat. Once one group member is done, another group member can cook their eggs in a basket. Once everyone is done making their egg in a basket, you're going to walk the pan over to the sink, run it under cold water so the dishwasher doesn't get burned. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Come on over to the sink. I'm going to place it in the water, and you want to run it under cold water. Okay? So the dishwasher won't get burned.